What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and this was a bizarre article to slip under my radar. It came out yesterday, and it is on largely discredited and joke website VG247, which mostly puts out bait and hires people like brainlet Kirk McKeon, in my opinion, who simply writes the worst trash about video games on the planet. But that's neither here nor there, because this article is by Emily Guerra, and it is about the new Death Stranding game. Now, no matter what camp you might be in the this is going to be the best game ever and you can't convince me otherwise, or if you're in the this seems like a really boring package simulator, a walking simulator, package delivery simulator, I don't know. I'm not in either camp. I don't know what's going on with the game. It's hard for me, I think, based on what I cover in the video game world. It's hard for me to get excited about new games because they're always disastrous at launch. I'm almost inclined to be excited for when the game goes on sale. You know, yeah, Borderlands 3, I was excited for it initially, and then all that stuff happened. I was like, I guess I'll wait for it to come on Steam. And now I'm like, well, I might as well just wait for the price to drop. And I think that more and more people might be entering that world. But Kojima does have his ultra, super, mega huge fans that will worship the ground that he walks on. And maybe he's earned that, maybe he hasn't. I haven't followed him like clearly they have. But this article about Death Stranding is the only article of its kind. And I figured when I saw the headline that, you know, first of all, I was like, holy crap, if he really said this, it would be on every major website around the world. Why is it not? Why is it only on random, obscure VG247? But let's read it. Death Stranding is a metaphor for Orange Man, says Kojima. Death Stranding. Now, that's a bold statement, right? You know, all the certified blue check marks at Polygon and Kotaku would be going wild praising him if this were true. It's curious that I've seen nothing about that. Death Stranding can be understood as a metaphor for America, Orange Man, and even the EU, according to its creator. Okay, that's not what your headline says, but let's continue. Death Stranding's recent trailer lingers on the idea of a divided people, and the message is pretty clear. It's about America. Hideo Kojima says tells Game Informer. But I made the map deliberately, not correctly America. It may look like Japan from that angle. I want people to think America, but where you are, because it depends on who's seeing it. And of course, it's in the future, and everyone's connected by internet, but everyone is fragmented. It's kind of a metaphor as well. And that's kind of true, right? You know, the commentary on social media and how people obsess with that, and they're quote unquote connected, but they're not actually connected. In Death Stranding, you play as Sam, tasked with connecting the country to the Chiral Network, a super communication system that is available to those who join the United Cities of America, UCA. What results is a land of those who are connected and those who are not. It's the dynamic that you might find a parallel in modern politics. No, not really. I think that's not a fair statement. Quote, when you connect, you use UCA services, but at the same time, they're retrieving your information 24 hours a day. So, like modern video games, says Kojima of Death Stranding's fictional network, which provides coverage of, quote, strands across the continental United Cities. It's like 1984. Some people may not like that and say, I'm not going to connect to the UCA because they're going to repeat the same things that we did, like Orange Man or the EU, these things. It's a metaphor. Okay, so it's not about him. Crisis averted. It's just, I mean, he is clearly saying that he's speaking about modern times, but it's not about the president. That's one of the most absurd headlines I've ever seen. And then I pulled up the actual original quote because I was like, this can't be true. This can't be true. You know, Kojima has had a history of having, you know, messaging in his videos or in his games. And, you know, I think that that's always fine. I think where oftentimes my opinion is misrepresented by those who don't take the time to listen to it is that I'm, of course, fine having modern day like parallels in video games. What I don't like is when a video game tells the player what's right or wrong. When there are things in a game that allow you to make the decision and make up your own mind what you think is right or what is wrong. That's, of course, totally fine. But when the video game tries to tell you what's right and wrong, that's what I don't like. So let's look at the actual original quote. There's actually 3 steps to the Chiral network. For bridges' sake, you're connecting from east to west, and you want to join the UCA, the United Cities of America. When you connect, you can use UCA services, but at the same time, they're retrieving your information. Okay, so that is the quote. Some people may not like that. I'm not going to connect to the UCA. We're going to repeat the same thing we did, like Drumpf or the EU. Notice that the article doesn't say, Death Stranding is about Brexit, which is given equal weight here. Now, he may not like, I don't know what his personal politics are. I hope I never know. I don't want to know. I just want to play good video games. However, if you get really close, they'll start to say, okay, I'll connect. A lot of preppers just sign a contract to be connected to bridges. The network is there, but there's no communication or other actions. That's why they can't use the Chiral printers or things like that. I mean, he's really developed this world very deeply. In the briefing trailer, a lot of the language about people being divided sounds familiar to what we hear in America today. Is that intentional? Now, I believe that modern media is as much to blame for this as anybody is. The profit from dividing people has reached probably, the worst levels I've ever seen in my entire life. Trying to pit people against each other, not coming out and being honest when there's like hoaxes. For example, Mr. the Frenchman, Jussie Smollett, nobody was coming out and condemning him. They were just letting that story out there fester because it divided people, made people angry, and had them tuning in every single night. The media itself, in my opinion, is the worst culprit of this, but I digress. It's about America, but I made the map deliberately not correctly America. Maybe it looks like Japan. I want people to not think America, but where you are, because it depends on who is seeing it. And of course, it's in the future, and everyone's connected by internet, but not everyone is everyone is fragmented. That's kind of a metaphor as well. So Sam is not hip hip hooray for connecting America. His motivation is to save Emily and the whole fleet of sensitive people. And a whole fleet of sensitive people will share the same attitude. They have to, because they're on a mission. They don't always want to. Sam actually moans a lot in the journey, saying, why am I doing this? And it's actually the same position the players can be in. Why am I doing this? It's so rough, so lonely, so solitary. When you play and connect, there's drama. There's preppers. There's storyline. You start to feel the connection might be really good. But I'm not saying it's positive or negative to connect. It's really up to the players to see how they feel while playing the game. That's perfect. Kojima nails it there. That's exactly, it's curious that they left that out, right? It's curious that the media that would write a purposely misleading headline would leave out the part where Kojima is saying, look, I'm presenting both options and it's up for you to decide what's right and what's wrong. That's why this isn't getting coverage on Polygon or Kotaku or any of these other bigger articles. If Kojima had come out to say, oh yeah, Orange Man bad, and this video game is a metaphor of if Orange Man has 4 more years and all gamers should see how bad things will get, they would be front page. It would get every single video game award and it would be talked about nonstop. But because Kojima does, in my opinion, the right thing by saying, I'm going to let the gamer make up their mind, I think this is totally fine. I mean, it's totally acceptable to have, that somebody is being influenced by modern times and putting things in their video games. Where the problem is, of course, is when they preach. Some better news about Death Stranding, though. A Death Stranding sequel could happen, according to Hideo Kojima. So we don't know. I think it's better that I keep it going in a sequel, Kojima said. The game we finally know considerably more than nothing about is part of what creator Hideo Kojima calls the Strand genre, which seems to be some sort of networking meets delivery simulator with a supernatural backdrop. I'm for it. Kojima tells GameSpot that in order to really solidify this budding new genre of his, he's already toying with the idea of a Death Stranding sequel, though he's not entirely sure what it would be or indeed if it's really plausible. I'm not really sure, Kojima said. referring to the odds of Death Stranding becoming a series. The most difficult part is when you create something new, you have to create a sequel, then a third version, or it will not remain as a genre. When the game comes out, there will be a lot of pros and cons. Kojima, it has like a knack for saying a lot of words and then not saying anything at all. And then, he's so enigmatic in that way that I think people misinterpret him all the time. People are obsessed with every word he says, trying to figure out, what the heck he's talking about. I mean, Metal Gear was a series, right? Coming from the man behind Metal Gear Solid, a series which spawned such confusing sequels and spin-offs as Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid Snake, also Sons of Liberty, not to mention Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Peace Walker, and Ground Zeroes. The talk of doubling down through sequels does carry some weight. That said, Death Stranding isn't even out yet, and it's already confusing. I shudder to think of what Kojima would do with the canon if he were armed with sequels. And the last bit of fun Death Stranding news is, of course, Norman Reedus, Death Stranding's character, is not happy if you stare at his crotch. I don't know why this is news, but it is. As the hype train gears up towards November, Death Stranding is in the headlines once again. Only this time it's for far more revealing reasons. We've seen a full 50 minutes of gameplay courtesy of Tokyo Game Show, but another gameplay video has been unveiled during the game show, one where Norman Reedus' character Sam is much more heavily. Hold on a second. Around the 228 mark, you'll see what happens. For reasons, decided to stare at his groin. Firstly, he'll act coy and modestly cover himself. Fair enough. Keep doing it, and Sam's going to have a problem with you. Cue Sam punching you in the face. I mean, I suppose that's funny. That's like asking Siri what 0 divided by 0 is. I mean, it's a little Easter egg. These are nice little touches you like to see in games. Death Stranding is something that I've definitely been on the fence about because I'm not sure how I'm going to react to kind of having like big Hollywood actors in video games. If I'll be able to separate Norman Reedus from, Boondock Saints or Walking Dead or whatever the case may be, or Mads from his many roles. Bring back Hannibal, please. And, the idea of a very easy mode. Lots of changes coming in November with Death Stranding that I think it's going to be a game that I'll probably want to play. I'll probably want to make time for it just to experience it. But I also tend to avoid these long gameplay reveals because I don't like to spoil it. The idea of watching 50 minutes of gameplay for me is like, oh, that's an hour of game that I don't get to experience for the first time. It's kind of the same reason I really don't watch much Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, I know I want to play the game. I don't want to watch an hour of somebody else playing the game. I want to enjoy it. So I haven't seen any of the gameplay demo for Death Stranding, so I'll be looking towards the comment section down below to see what you have to say. I look forward to reading it. If you enjoyed yourself, make sure you leave a like on this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.